morning.
Hello. Welcome to Overthink this podcast. My name is Kyle.
My name's Macy.
And we've got a couple stories for you. That sounded pretty good. I was pretty pro.
You're getting the hang of it.
I think. Good morning.
Your hair. Fix your hair.
All right.
Yeah. When you put
I know,
these
I
on,
pushed
don't
it forward.
push,
I felt it. It's like when you wear a headband and you do it the weird way.
And then you have like little loops.
I'm going to shave my head, I think.
No.
Macy doesn't want me to. All right. Anyways, we got a couple stories for you. I'm going to introduce a segment when it's my turn.
All right. Well, it's not your turn. It's my turn.
Yeah, I just sprung that on Macy, so here we go.
It's my turn. Okay, today I'm going to tell you about why I don't believe in aliens.
All right. So we both have a little bit of a different week then. You're telling me a first-hand account of why you don't believe in something.
Mm-hmm. Do you believe in aliens?
Yes. Yes.
I don't.
All right, go for it. Let's hear it.
I make a lot of people angry when I say that.
You don't make me angry because I don't care. It doesn't change my daily life that you don't believe in aliens. Mm-hmm. If you saw an alien, would you go, all right?
I'm not going to see an alien, though.
You say that now.
Well, I'm going to tell you why I'm not going to see an alien.
No. There are aliens. Did you see the other day there was the people on the beach were filming
a light?
No, the flying saucer.
A flying saucer? Okay, was that an alien?
Yeah.
Did you see the alien inside of it?
Yeah, he waved.
Shut up.
All right.
I mean, Lil Mayo is pretty convincing.
All right.
If you don't know who that is, go find out and follow him.
Oh God! All right.
Which it is kind of funny because I do love hearing like alien abduction stories and UFOs. Like I do get really into those, but I don't believe in aliens.
There's so many accounts, and everybody tells somewhat of the same story, but slightly different.
But why is the first thought that it's aliens? Why can't we come up with a theory of it being produced from Earth?
Because it's alien.
Like, why is the thought it's always like extraterrestrial?
Because it's alien to us Earthlings.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, the definition of alien isn't necessarily extraterrestrial.
No, I know. I know.
So, yeah. A UFO is not extraterrestrial.
It's an unidentified flying object.
Which doesn't mean that it comes from outer space somewhere.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, I said it was a UFO.
All right.
Okay.
But you said it was an alien in it.
It's alien.
Anyway. If that's your definition of alien, then I believe in aliens.
Is that an adjective turned into a noun? Is that what that is?
I don't know.
Like alien isn't a noun. It's not a name of something. It's
an
alien.
adjective.
Yeah, it's alien to us.
It could also be a noun. In alien, like the thing.
No, but the word alien is meant to be, oh, that is alien to me.
How do you spell alien?
A-L-I-E-N.
Alien. Definition. Okay, yeah, it's an adjective and a noun. Adjective, belonging to a foreign country or nation.
Yep.
And then a noun, a foreigner, especially one who is not a naturalized citizen of the country where they are living. So both of these definitions have nothing to do with extraterrestrial.
That's kind of what I was getting at. Like it doesn't. I think that we apply that to something foreign.
Yeah.
But it really isn't the actual definition of it.
So when you were talking about alien, it's not necessarily.
It's alien. It's
okay,
still not
we can
even
get hung up on this all day, but let's just move on.
It's still not necessarily correct the way I used it.
Okay, right. So the first, I have 3 main points.
Cool.
The first big one is just understanding how our planet evolved into developing intelligent life.
Yeah.
Because for us to understand how this happens can help us see if that's possible to happen anywhere else. Okay, so starting with a couple definitions of the difference between eukaryotes and prokaryotes. So initially, the first forms of like life on Earth comes from just like single-celled organisms.
Yes.
You have to start somewhere.
We all know that, right? Like they come
I hope
from
so.
Well, yeah. I guess I should hope.
Some people don't use the theory of evolution to explain why we ended up here.
Yeah, those people are wrong.
Yes.
Let's just call it what it is. It's our fucking podcast.
And the theory of evolution doesn't necessarily mean it's correct, but scientifically, with all the evidence that we can collect, this is the most plausible explanation, and this is what I am going to believe in.
Yes, and noted, it's still a theory. We're still collecting data. It's not.
Anything in science is not. It's not strict fact. Like, you have to say everything is theoretical.
Isn't it like
gravity is a theory?
Yeah. Okay. Well,
stuff like that. It's like we obviously know there's
look
something.
up the definition theory.
Anyway. Okay, so a eukaryotic cell are the cells that we have in our bodies. They're more complex, and they have the main difference is that eukaryotes have a membrane-bound nucleus and organelles. So we have a nucleus that contains our genetic information in these cells, and it's very defined that that's there. In prokaryotes, they're just simple single-celled organisms such as bacteria. They have no defined nucleus. Their genetic material is kind of just like floating around in the cell.
Interesting. Oh, okay.
That's the main difference between the two.
So one has a membrane and one doesn't, basically.
One has
simply
a nucleus enclosed in a membrane. Yeah. One doesn't. Yeah. And prokaryotes are a little more simplified than a eukaryotic cell.
Okay.
Yeah. So the eukaryotic cell originated from prokaryotic cells because initially the prokaryote is like the simplest type of cell that you can get. So that came first. The eukaryotic cell originates to about 1.5 billion years ago, and the most widely used theory on the evolution of the eukaryotic cell is the endosymbiotic theory. So this is where the eukaryotic cell arose from the fusion of archaean prokaryotic cells. So two prokaryotic cells, if you can imagine like two different types of like bacterial cells. In this case, it's an archaean cell, which is different than a bacteria, but it's just like a single cell. They fused together into two cells and formed like a mutual relationship, like a symbiotic relationship.
Okay. So two cells became one?
Two cells became one. Two cells became one cell inside of another one.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Okay. So then all that together became...
That just became one cell.
One cell.
A eukaryotic cell.
Got it. Okay.
So the belief is that, you know how our cells have mitochondria? Mm-hmm. Can you tell me what the mitochondria is?
Mm-mm. I'd rather you just...
It's the powerhouse of the cell.
Yeah. That's
okay.
I mean, that's like what I was going to say.
The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
Yeah, we all know that.
So the belief is that mitochondria and chloroplasts. So chloroplast is like the powerhouse of a plant cell.
Yeah, that's... Whenever I hear chloroplast, I think of the color green.
Because they are green.
I know.
Okay. So the belief is that mitochondria and chloroplasts were originally prokaryotes taken up by another prokaryote, which created the eukaryotic cell. So mitochondria were originally like its own like single-celled organism that like functioned on its own. Okay. And then like another cell swallowed it up, and now we have one cell with a mitochondria functioning as a part of that cell.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I get it.
Same with the plants, with the chloroplasts.
Everything's fusing.
Yeah, and so that relationship led to a gradual increase in complexity of organisms.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. So this is like an accidental like evolution. This isn't a purposeful, like the cell knew to take in the cell and create a new cell.
Yeah, no. Life is literally like a series
it's
of
a
random
series
events.
of accidents
Yeah.
that just one leads to another, and this benefits this, and this benefits this, so it keeps going forward.
Like we could have been
Natural selection.
the only way we're this way is a series of accidents.
Exactly.
Yeah. It could have been a million different things. And then you slowly evolve into another thing and another thing and another thing.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was saying like another.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now that we know where the eukaryotic cell comes from, because that's really important in how we developed complex organisms, we're going to talk about the Cambrian explosion. The Cambrian explosion is like the bottleneck that leads to, along with like these cells, it leads to like actual life forms and like creatures and animals and plants. So most of Earth's history is Earth without any type of multicellular life. It's, if you look at like a diagram, it shows the first Earth as just, there's no water. Like we're just like a rock in space.
Yeah.
Then water develops, and these are all like billions of years apart, like each of these developments. Yeah. So we start with first Earth, then water, then we get single-celled life, then we get the chloroplast morphing into one of the single cells and creates photosynthesis, but we don't have plants yet. We just have cells existing using photosynthesis.
Okay.
It's on a plant.
So it's not an organic material yet.
So we have photosynthesis. It's just a cell existing and producing energy through photosynthesis. It's not a plant.
Yeah.
From there, we go to eukaryotes. So we develop the eukaryote. And then once we get the eukaryote, we develop into multicellular life, and sexual reproduction starts. So there's certain cells that reproduce sexually.
Yeah.
Then we get to our earliest plants. Now we have algae, which is like our earliest form of plant, which is just like a bunch of...
Everybody's seen algae.
It's not the algae that you're thinking of.
Oh.
Like you can't see this algae. Like an algal cell is like different than that like mushy, slimy stuff that grows.
Tangible material.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Okay.
Then from here we get to animals. Then the animals are arthropods and mollusks, the really disgusting things that I hate, that we see like fossilized exoskeletons of.
Yeah. The like tanks of the earth.
Oh, they're so gross. I hate them.
I love them.
Oh, I hate them. Then we get plants, so we get like leafy materials, and then flowers, because flowers are a little more complex than actual just like leafy plants. Then we get dinosaurs, birds, mammals, and lastly we get to primates. And then like
we went from flowers to dinosaurs. It's quite the leap.
Well, because plants are... wait, what do you mean? Oh, like we went...
You said we got...
Oh, these things are kind of like developing at the same time, but the hierarchy is like plants, then flowers, and dinosaurs, and birds, and
just
mammals.
like the biggest, big milestones.
Yeah.
Got it.
Also, you have to remember that there's like billions of years before we even get to the algae.
Yeah, you said
this has taken a long time.
Yeah, okay.
So now we understand like just like a rough timeline of how we developed into multicellular organisms and animals.
Yeah.
There was also another factor called the Great Oxygen Crisis, which this came before eukaryotes. About 2.4 billion years ago, there was numerous environmental factors involved, which gives rise to oxygen. And I could go into depth with that, but that's...
Nope.
Yeah, you can look it up. There's like multiple things that happened on the Earth's like structure that gave rise to oxygen, along with single cellular organisms creating oxygen. So when we start having photosynthesis, you know that oxygen is the what's the word I'm looking for? It's like the waste produced by photosynthesis, which is what us as humans need to breathe in.
Yeah, isn't it carbon dioxide?
We produce carbon dioxide. Plants produce oxygen.
Yeah.
Photosynthesis produces oxygen. So part of these like organisms creating oxygen creates like a huge influx in oxygen, and it kills like most of the stuff that's living on Earth because it's not used to having that much oxygen.
It doesn't use oxygen.
Most of the single-celled organisms don't use oxygen, and the increase in oxygen through these like cyanobacteria creating oxygen wipes them out. Yeah. But this rise in oxygen is what allows multicellular organisms to form, because pretty much everything like animal related uses oxygen to survive.
So all the simple things died, giving way to the multi-cell.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So just all of these things had to occur perfectly to even be able to start creating like a complex organism such as like the mollusk.
Sure.
And then from there, it steadily evolved into intelligent life until we get to humans.
Yeah.
Which you could also argue what you deem intelligent life or not, and we'll get into that in the second part, because the second part is where I'm going to talk about the Drake equation. So just to like clarify why I went into this whole point about how Earth develops, because like things like this need to happen in a similar fashion to be able to produce intelligent life somewhere else, and these are all accidental processes.
So that's what we know has to happen,
right?
It could have been something completely different somewhere else to create a completely different sort of being.
Yeah, that's true. And because a lot of this,
so that's what happened.
This does say, a lot of my next point does say like Earth is the only example we can use because it's the only thing we know. This is what we have to use. But based on what's happening on Earth, to apply this somewhere else, we don't really see it happening.
Yeah, so you're saying like there's not going to be another like us somewhere, because it would have had to happen.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I don't think if we saw an alien, it's going to look like us, because we are very specific. No, we're very specific to our time, oxygen levels, heat, temperature. Like everything was, like you just said, is very specific to what happened here. Yeah,
and this is the only example we have of that to go on, which makes sense. Also, look at how much diversity and species we have on Earth.
Yeah.
So I can really show like all the different ways that organisms can develop just by using Earth as the example.
Yeah. And then we're still discovering species that have developed strangely in even more foreign environments than we've ever imagined. Like, like the depths of the ocean.
We don't know anything about the ocean.
What if there's a depths of the ocean somewhere else? And I
don't even like our ocean. I don't want to know about an alien ocean.
I want to know. Yeah, you don't like going in the ocean.
I like going in the ocean. I just don't like knowing what's in there with me. And I think people can agree.
I mean, I don't think about it that much, like when I'm in it, because usually on the shores it's not.
I'm just
terrible.
Thinking about stingrays.
Well,
which are disgusting.
Yeah.
Get that flat piece of rubber out of my face.
All right.
Jeez. Okay. Second point, the Drake equation.
All right.
Which is what you brought up. His name's Frank Drake.
Frank Drake.
In the first podcast.
Yeah,
and
episode
I sort of
1.
thought you were going to go into a little bit about it, but you went a completely different direction.
Yeah, no. If you haven't seen it, episode 1, I talk about the dolphin experience, or the dolphin experiments that Frank Drake was a part of.
So go ahead and listen to episode 1 if you would like to know. Okay, so I'm just going to say what the equation is, and then I'll go into what all the variables mean.
Let's do it.
Okay, so the equation is N equals Rx times Fp times Ne times Fl times Fi times Fc times L.
Got it.
With N being the number of civilizations in our galaxy with which communication might be possible, and which are on our current past light cone. So that's, to explain what that means, that's like what we can see right now.
Okay. Yeah.
So you know how if you don't do this, but if you were to look at the sun, you're seeing the sun.
I've already done it.
You're seeing the sun as it was about 8 minutes ago, because it's taking 7 to 8 minutes for that light to get here.
Yeah.
Similar with like the Andromeda galaxy, I think, is 2.5 billion light years away, something like that. But when you see the Andromeda galaxy through a telescope, you're seeing it as it was 2.5 billion years ago.
Isn't that insane? That's such a weird thing to think. Like, it's not in real time.
I know.
Like, that's really weird, where you're like, no, it's right there. Like, no, it was right there.
So if there was extraterrestrials looking at the Earth from however far away, we're not here yet.
Or we were there. Wait.
Our current past light cone, not the future light cone.
Yeah.
We're not here yet.
We're still...
We don't exist.
We don't exist.
We don't exist?
Earth barely exists.
Earth might not even be there.
It might be just a rock.
I do want to point out...
Depending on how far away they are.
I do want to point out that this equation is limited to just the Milky Way galaxy. So we're not talking about anybody existing in Andromeda.
Got it.
Which it's not really going to matter, because if they're in another galaxy, we're never going to contact them.
Not in our lifetime.
Never. Anyway. Okay. So N is the number that we're trying to find to determine the number of civilizations which we might be able to communicate with. That's going to kind of tell us if it's possible or not.
Yeah.
A lot of these variables are up for debate too, and a lot of scientists think that there's like better variables that we could use to calculate this number.
Well, sure. That was the first, right? That was the first equation to find the variable.
I think this is kind of like the only equation, unless anybody has like tweaked it.
I'm sure there's been. All right. Whatever.
Probably.
Doesn't
Okay,
matter.
so Rx is the average rate of star formation in our galaxy, and that number is determined to be about 1.5 to 3 per year. So we're in the Milky Way galaxy, 1.5 to 3 stars are being created each year, which with how much it takes to create a star, it's like a decent amount.
Yeah.
But I don't know how many are disappearing.
Probably about the same.
But if a star is about to die out, I don't think anybody's living near it anyway.
Mm-mm.
So
they're already dead.
Right. FP is the fraction of those stars that have planets, which a lot of scientists believe this variable approaches 1, meaning that every single star in the galaxy probably has at least one planet. And I was reading a little bit about it, and it's like due to gravitational pull of a star, it just is going to like pull in planets. Like it's kind of impossible to have one.
If you get within the pole, it'll go.
Yeah, so at least every star has at least one planet, probably. And E is the average number of planets that can potentially support life per star that has planets.
Okay.
So we think every single star has a planet. So it's the average amount of planets near that star can support life.
Based on?
These are very hard to calculate. So these are like probabilities.
That's what I was going to say, is like based on what?
Yeah, so this equation, it's used as much as it can be, but we can't determine a lot of these things. Because
it's the closest they can come to some sort of...
It's the closest we can get.
Yeah.
Okay, so N of E is probably about 3 to 5 planets per star, or 10% of planets in the galaxy. These numbers vary based on like who's calculating it.
Okay.
3 to 5 planets per star is seen as like a generous amount of planets that can potentially support life.
Yeah.
Because we have to look at factors like these planets have to be stable for long enough. They have to have the right amount of elements. They have to be far enough away from supernovas, so like exploding stars.
Oh yeah, that's a good call. I wouldn't even thought of that. Like other mass amounts of radiation and stuff like that.
Explosions happening, it's gonna suck up.
I didn't even think about that.
And then moons can also be considered of supporting
planets.
Life. The moons of a planet could also be considered. FL is the fraction of planets that could support life that actually develop life. So we have a rough estimate of planets that could support life.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean all of them are going to develop life. So that's its own variable. Evidence for this only comes from our Earth, because it's the only example, like I said earlier. It's set to 1 out of probability. So they're just putting 1 for F of L.
All right. Just 1?
Just 1.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not really like a fraction. They're just using the number 1.
Got it.
If I is the fraction of planets with life that actually go on to develop intelligent life. So we have to have a fraction of planets that could maybe support life. Then we have the planets who actually develop life. And then we have the planets who could develop intelligent life.
So there's 3 different levels of life supporting.
You have to be able
to.
You have to
you
have.
You are an intelligent.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's like a lot of factors to get through.
Sure.
This value.
Our Earth has gone through all 3.
Our Earth has gone through all 3. Congratulations, Earth.
Thank you.
This value.
Is that what Earth sounds like? Thank you.
I feel like Earth sounds like a beautiful woman.
Oh, we don't have one of those here.
Hey!
I couldn't help it.
All right, so Fi is particularly controversial because some say out of all species on Earth, only 1 has become intelligent. So this is where the argument of what you consider intelligent life is and isn't. I would definitely consider most animals, like things with a brain, things that can think, things that are sentient, as intelligent life.
Yeah.
I would consider that intelligent life. But some people say not always, because
some people have a higher bar of intelligent life.
We are the only species with the ability to communicate outside of our planet. So if another planet has intelligent life, that doesn't mean that they're reaching out to us and we're ever going to find it.
What? So is that what they're considering intelligent life, is if you can reach outside of your planet?
That's why this is controversial, because
okay, then
people,
that was like, what,
say,
30 years ago then?
What do you mean?
Like since, or like, I don't know, I guess it's been since the 60s, but like.
That's going to be my next variable, actually. If we go to FC, that's the fraction of civilizations that develop a technology that releases detectable signals of their existence into space.
Mm-hmm.
So that is deliberate communication coming from that planet, which we on Earth don't even do. So we on Earth have sent things into space and in case, but we're not sending out like a continuous signal to be able to reach extraterrestrials.
No.
And so because
so let's simplify this. Is that what people are saying is intelligent life, if we can send out a constant signal to other planets to communicate?
It's up to you. It's up to what you want to decide as intelligent.
But is that what that's saying?
F of I is just the fraction of planets that actually go on to develop intelligent life. From there, it's up to you what you consider intelligent or not.
Sure.
If the world was run by cats who are intelligent because they can
survive,
they think, they communicate with each other, they survive, they do whatever, but they're not capable of let's send radio signals into outer space. Like, only we can do that, and we don't even do that.
Yeah. So then technically, to that level, we're not intelligent life yet.
If you're going to consider that, then no, we wouldn't be. Yes. But we have the capability, so that is considered intelligent life, because we have the capability to send out radio signals. We're just not doing it because we are the intelligent life, which is Fi.
Yeah.
But FC is the civilizations that like develop the technology to release detectable signals into outer space and are like actually doing it so that we could pick up on it.
Yeah.
So if you're considering Earth as FC, I would put it as 0.
Yeah.
Also, another civilization would have to be close enough to even detect our signals or us detect their signals, because it only goes so far. Now, L is the length of time for which such civilizations release detectable signals into space, which is estimated as 420 years based on the duration of previous modern civilization. So this is like how long that our civilization, our modern civilization, is going to last on Earth, being able to send out these signals, because obviously we know we aren't going to live forever. We're not going to last forever. we're gonna die. Maybe there's
What?
maybe there's like a species after Homo sapiens, and then it would be on that civilization to be able to send out the signals.
What do you mean we're not living forever?
We're gonna die.
Oh no! What?
We're killing ourselves. We're killing ourselves. Okay, so
I'd be
do we
surprised
have
if we don't kill
a
ourselves.
final number? Our final number n. The Drake equation can produce a wide variety of values, and these values aren't well established, like we've already said. N could be less than 1, meaning we are completely alone, or n could be greater than 1, meaning there's like several civilizations we can contact. However, one of the few points of wide agreement of scientists implies that the probability of intelligence arising outside of planet Earth is 0. So it's like widely deduced that we're alone and that there's nothing, and that n is close to 0 in the scientific community.
So that's where you hang your hat.
I have my third point.
Oh.
I said there's 3 points. So we did the evolution of Earth, which we would have to apply to other planets outside of our solar system, which we haven't been able to see.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Drake equation, which is like the probability of civilizations even existing outside of Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Now we get to the Fermi paradox. Basically, we've deduced that there's billions of stars in our galaxies similar to the sun, which could produce a high probability of having Earth-like planets. Nobody's like debating that. We know there's a high probability of Earth-like planets existing.
Uh-huh.
If the Earth is a typical example, then these planets may have or should have developed intelligent life a long time ago. Like Earth, some of these civilizations could have explored or developed interstellar travel. So we don't have interstellar travel, but we have space travel, and we are working on it and exploring it. We're still, as advanced as it is, we're still extremely limited in our capabilities.
Yeah, we've hit a roadblock. It's called the moon. That's it.
We get there, and that's about it. Since many stars are billions of years older than the sun, then we should have expected visits from extraterrestrial life or their probes. Because if they've been existing billions of years
they would have already.
For us, they should have already developed that.
But what if their species died before they could? Like, we're going to die probably before we can.
Yeah, well,
so then the constant repetition of new species coming to become quote unquote intelligent life, it never reaches interstellar travel because they die off before they can reach it.
So
and
that's why this is the Fermi paradox. It's like there's all of these things that should have happened already, but there's no evidence that it's ever happened. And that is why I don't believe in aliens. And if they're out there, we're never going to see them. They're never going to see us. We're never going to exist at the same time. It's never going to happen. People give up on it.
What if there's
no aliens?
What if there's aliens
listening to me right
and
now?
And what if the one thing they hear is you saying they don't exist and they come straight for you? They're not.
Well, I hope they would convince me otherwise then. But this is why I don't believe in aliens, and this is the evidence that I have to back it up. So if anybody wants to try and challenge that, go ahead. I'm open to it.
So I don't have, and what I think a lot of people, like, because when you start hearing people go on to alien rants, it can always get to like a very crazy person place very quickly. And like, I get that. Like, I don't get that. Like, I don't understand. Like, where slow down. Like, no, there's aliens because
there has to be, because it's so big. There has to be aliens. And it's like, okay, well, let me tell you all the reasons why there's not.
Well, I just don't. I guess what I'm saying is I don't get into the conspiracy theory of the whole thing. I don't really get into conspiracy theories at all because I think everybody's stupid and thinking way too much into everything. But what I do think is that we know what we know, which is clearly not everything, and that still leaves the option on the table that there could be.
Mm-hmm.
And being alone in the universe is both safe sounding, but also completely terrifying.
Mm-hmm. Well, and like I said, that we really only have Earth as our only example because we haven't seen it anywhere else. So we're limited to that. But
so that's what I'm saying is it's like our earthly projections are saying one thing, which I agree with. If that's all we know, that's all we know. And that's all there is for us. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that's it. There could be more.
No, and I agree. I agree that there could be more. But what I'm saying is
whenever we have the argument, this is what I'm trying to get to you.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree that we know because Earth formed. It's possible. And we have example that it's possible.
Got it on camera.
However, the reason why I don't believe in aliens is because all the evidence that I presented, we're never going to see them. If they existed, they don't anymore. If they will exist, it's not anytime soon.
Yeah.
And Earth may not even be here anymore. Like the sun's going to explode and maybe someone else is going to take over. And it's going to be hundreds of billions of years from now. Who knows? I don't know, but
it's not going to happen.
Aliens right now, UFOs right now, people being abducted from Earth, it's not happening.
It's not going to happen in our lifetime, chances are. If it hasn't happened in the thousands and thousands of years that humans have been a thing.
Yeah. I know people also have that argument about like the government knows more than we do.
No.
Area 51.
So that's the area where I start to lose it or lose people is because
do you think it's because other countries have more intelligence than we do and the United States is covering it up as like, oh, it's aliens?
No. I don't think if we have any proof, I don't think it's enough to even bat an eye at. Or not even proof, any evidence of anything outside of our planet. I don't think it's enough to go like, oh, there it is. We've done it. There's extraterrestrials, blah, blah, blah.
See, I feel like I'm convincing you to my side more.
No. What I'm saying is I'm in the middle. Is that I don't go to conspiracy theory land. I think people that go down that path sound ridiculous. I know a lot of people love that. That's fine. Do your thing. But I'm not over there. But I definitely think we are limiting ourselves to our sciences and just calling it. I think the definitive just going like, no, I proved it here. No. That's what you know. There's still so much stuff that is just a theory.
Well, and that's why I love science is because we can do as much as we can to learn about our environment and our surroundings. But there's like that general consensus that like nothing is ever proven. There's always possibilities. There's always things that we don't know and that we just want to know more. Yeah.
That's where I always land is like, yes, even facts technically, which are if there are scientific facts, it's like, but that's what it's always limited to what we know. There's always things we don't know. And that can
we do have to account for that. And that's sort of what the Drake equation tries to account for, and that's why other researchers have suggested like changing variables because this one would be more likely than that one or whatever.
All right. Well, that's a good one. I mean, I definitely now understand a bit more of like how you've come to your not conclusion, but I told you I have like actual evidence on why I'm not just like I don't believe in aliens because I've never seen one.
But you'll admit it's just evidence, not definitive